Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be ranking every single full-length performance from Mnet's Queendom and Kingdom series, including Road to Kingdom, but not including the opening performances. We've got over 100 performances to look at, so please excuse me if I can't talk about each one too much. Please listen to this whole intro as I'll go over some important things to understand before we start the ranking. I graded these with a set list of criteria that I made, where I scored them each out of up to 93 points in 12 to 14 categories depending on the type of performance. I then weighted the scores to find an average. This way I can stay as consistent and as objective as possible. However, it's impossible to be completely objective. Since I made the list, certain things that I value or certain expectations I have will cause categories to be weighted more. However, I try to have no bias when it comes to how much I'm a fan of the group. In short, I have reasons for my choices. I'm not just doing it randomly, and I worked really hard, but it's still okay if you completely disagree with me. Please keep in mind there are many technical, financial, and social factors that may have impacted the performance that I am not taking into account, like budget, genre, audience versus lack of audience, expectation of the show's season, of that round's mission, of men versus women, how the members are feeling that day, group size, and much more. I can't account for all of these, but I acknowledge their effect. This is in no way an evaluation of the group as a whole against each other. I also know some groups or some seasons better than others, so I'm sorry if I'm missing some context for things. To avoid excessive negativity, I'll feature highlighted clips that show the strengths I mentioned in each explanation, rather than the weaknesses unless it's a really specific moment. I also won't say how far apart some ranks are from each other. Honestly, I could probably gush about any of these forever, especially like the top 80 or 90. They're all really great performances. Anyways, let's get started. With no expectations for the show this far, it makes sense that the first episode of Queendom 1 will have the least elevated performances. The bar simply hadn't been raised yet. This was a heartwarming performance, and I liked the addition of the choir, but it wasn't much beyond what one would expect at any music show, so it doesn't end up being particularly unique, intriguing, or elevated from the original concept of the song. Nothing was messy or bad about the performance, but the material just really isn't there to begin with, and the concept. I get they wanted to show an edgier side of Lovelyz, but it was done in a rather boring way with these outfits and very little change to the song. Hear me out. This had creative harmonies and great singing, which is the goal of the round, so in that sense it was good. However, it didn't elevate, didn't have a story, theme, didn't really utilize lighting or staging to convey anything either. It's okay to keep things simple, but they could do so in many other ways that still play into Kepler and Luna's genres and strengths and abilities more. Overall, this performance was left feeling rather generic, like many survival singing showcases I've seen. Good and clean, but nothing special. Some say this one really hit them emotionally. Sadly, I am not one of those people. I genuinely enjoyed listening and watching at the time, but when evaluating overall, it falls very low. This is a very nice take on Han that gives it a more bomb-like vibe musically, but I think the concept itself could be more unique to match. Having Cheetah come in was really great. I think the choreo and dancing could have been better arranged and executed. Even the background dancers were a bit messy at times. Love the opening with the ribbons and flower petals, and the performance had small enhancements from the original, but not really with direct purpose or a concept in mind. In fact, their clothing and background was more basic than some of the music shows with this song, so that's just unfortunate to me. This was good to show off AOA as the sexy cool group they are. I do wish they reworked the choreo to still include the chairs in the beginning, but it was good readjusting. Chammy's dance break was amazing. I'm really glad she got so many moments on the show. I wish it showed us more than we already knew about the group, though. This kind of showed almost less than the original song. Very nice dancing and vocals, but overall nothing we wouldn't expect of them or any other boy group, honestly. I would have liked to see more individuality and an even stronger theme. Really great start vocally. I see the general concept. I think it could have escalated better in both those categories, though, and been arranged to better meld the voices together, especially with all the unique tones they had. The concept itself was also not very unique. Musically and even concept-wise, this was really cool and creative. I like this version of the song. The stage presence was strong too. I do wish they'd add a bit more of a story element or even really a concept besides racing. I also think, considering how good some of these members are at dancing, they could have gone even more complex with that choreo. The energy is really fun, and there's great stage presence, and the rapping's really cool too. However, a lot is going on in a way that doesn't really aid the performance in terms of lighting, editing, choreo, camera work. They do a paint splatter thing, but it's in black and white with flashing lights, and then this paper falls and gets stuck on them. I don't know, man. I definitely prefer the slower parts with just the 3 members. That's when the personality and ability really shines through a lot more. Okay, I love the prop ideas and styling a lot. They definitely elevate the concept nicely and keep it interesting throughout. Again, I wish there was a bit more story or theme besides the marching band vibe that was just at the beginning. There was some moments that felt a bit stiff, perhaps due to being nervous, as I only really noticed it in this round for them. I found a similar thing with AOA's miniskirt, so it could just be first round jitters. This idea is great in theory, but it really felt messy throughout, and the 2 songs were completely separate. I wish they kept the magical girl vibe for Jelly Baby or something in that vein, but I did like the rockstar version of Puss. It just felt weird that only Jimin finished the whole performance alone. I really expected it to all come together. Although the stage presence is really powerful here, and I love the styling, and they show off their singing and dancing skills well, it's still overall a fairly generic stage that I enjoy in the moment, but don't really feel like going back to frequently. Fun vibe and prop ideas. Some choreo choices and execution could be better, but the energy was really nice. I think making it a bit more dynamic throughout would also be beneficial, but it still got across the theme of a colorful party, and they sell it well. I honestly really love this performance, so I'm kind of sad it wasn't higher, but when I think of if it really elevated what I already enjoyed about the original, I can't say it really did. They could have also been a bit more creative with the arrangement of their singing. I do really like that Minnie actually plays the piano, though. really don't want to be so hard on the vocal performances, believe me, but they really could just do more with the arrangement and singing considering. The vocalists meld together really nicely and were all featured well here. The concept was strong and beautiful. The staging was simple yet effective. It's great in some ways, but lacking in others for me, and that's why it's still in this section. This was a unique take on Unnatural that did a nice job featuring the members. The concept fits all three of them really well. There was also unique camera and staging choices I liked a lot. However, I felt it overall lacked the energy and vibe it was probably trying to go for, whatever that may be. I wasn't sure if it wanted to be like sultry or like a party or really showy and flashy or maybe kind of mysterious and even angsty. It had elements of all these without really ever going anywhere, which disconnected me from it a little bit. I think Mamamoo and i-dle were the groups in the first round of this series that really pushed to do a lot more and set the bar for performances to come, which is great. This is a good dark take on their debut song. Soyeon's rap here is iconic, and so is Minnie's intro. The dancing is super cool and the stage presence is killer. It does lack some of those elements that we've come to expect later on, but for the first round, it's really solid. Since they have no example to go off of, it's extremely impressive, especially since it still holds up against so many other performances years later. However, in the scheme of things, it lacks a story or even a theme beyond marching band. It's already such a cool song they've done a lot with in the past, so I don't feel they particularly elevated it that much either, just changed it up. The dance was also a bit underwhelming overall, but as usual, the stage presence and singing is spectacular. A good switch up from the original that's a genuinely strong performance throughout, but it could have gone the extra mile to really dive into the concept and let the members stand out more and make it different from other performances with this traditional concept as well. Beautiful staging to enhance the performance and add more story. Not necessarily groundbreaking, and there are some lulls in the middle where it doesn't completely hit for me, but overall, beautiful performance.
Let's go!
This is a fun and unique take on Fire that matches i-dle's energy while still paying tribute to 21. It comes and does what it needs to do while still elevating and going a step beyond expectations, at least a little bit.
그런 사랑은 절대 잊혀지지 않는 걸 넌 내가 널 잊은 줄 알겠지만.
There are more little things that maybe could have been done to enhance this performance arrangement-wise, but it still works, and I love it. The lighting's nice too.
Just kinda wish you were gay. I just kinda wish you were gay.
Despite not being as moving as Scarecrow, I think the vocal arrangement in this one is a bit better and complements the voices of the singers nicely and showcases them evenly. The city night vibe is cool, and they still manage to move around the stage and escalate the song in a consistent way. Really cool concept, very clean dancing, maybe the most synchronized of all three in this round. I really like the fierce expressions too. Some of the choreo was a bit generic though, like you'd expect in a general girl group comeback. It would have been nice to see them spice it up a bit more to focus on the dancing, considering that's what the round was all about. It was fun, but there really was so much more they could have done with it, which I'm sure you've noticed is a common thing around this part of the ranking. Alright, I actually have a lot to say here. I've literally heard some people say this is the best performance on Queendom or in the series, and sadly, I just can't see that at all, especially as I closely evaluate it. In fact, I think it ends up being the lowest ranked of the season when I finalize this. I like how they've really made it their own, and I think it's got good variety and energy. They feature everyone well. There's impactful staging. The drop is cool, and that's why it's still a good way into this countdown. However, the choreo just isn't quite as nice as the original. There's no particular story or theme beyond what's just implied in the lyrics of the song or a reference to the movie, which doesn't lead to this being very elevated from the original, which is a big part of the show. I find they sing better, have more thought out themes, and better choreo than many of their other performances. If someone could kindly explain to me the appeal of this one, seriously, please do, because it's so hyped, and I'd like to like it, I just really don't see it. Even if I don't agree with you, I'd at least like to know the perspective of someone who really likes it, so please drop a comment if you do. I really love this version of the song, especially the use of the orchestra instruments. The choreo in the beginning is really strong. However, it does fall into issues of simplicity and lack of individuality to showcase the group and its members. If it weren't for the strong points I mentioned, it may fall into my other tier of good but nothing special, but it has so much that it moves higher. Your destiny, 너를 본 순간 모든 게 magic history. 그냥 녹여버렸어. I'm a big fan of this kind of concept, and I love how SF9 did so many different concepts on the show. This dance was really cool. Like, seriously, the duet work was awesome. The outfits are gorgeous. I like the ribbon and mirrors incorporated into the dance. However, I do feel the performance loses momentum around the middle. This just didn't really do it for me, especially not compared to their other performances. Finally, the time is now! The set is beautiful, and since they're great singers with great stage presence, it's still fun to watch. But it's not particularly unique until, like, the tutting parts start. Showtime. Oh, let the music control my body. 음악 속에 나의 private party. 맡긴 채 let it go. 내 몸이 움직이는 대로. This is a good cover and they sell it well, but I think they underutilized the red curtains and set and backstage meta vibe they were going for. Since they presented all these cool elements, I expected more, even though it was good even so. I like the overall idea a lot, from the nods to other music styles and artists. I know it rated highest in the round, but it just didn't hit as much as the others in the round to me. I adore how this begins, with the set pieces and the dancers and everything. The little choreo changes are crisp and fun too. Sadly, I think the killing me portion of the performance is weaker than the love scenario part. I get the idea, but the transition could have been more story-heavy since the first half was. Although I do feel like this is an underrated performance overall, it's still fairly weak for a finale, especially since they were so extra in the round just before. I like this song, I like the concept, I like the use of the masks. They do more and it's different and cohesive, but it's not really fully next level compared to other performances. The most dynamic use of the stage of all three dance performances, but I'd say sometimes the use of effects became so much it was hard to see the dance, which was the main point. I think their choreo was unique and well done, but a little bit out of sync at times too, which was quite noticeable in the full cam. A unique theme and really creative staging to make the space feel full in just a flat surface. They really elevated this and made it their own, a more mature, sleek version of Mask. Okay, this one is very difficult for me. In theory, this is an ideal performance. The musical theater aspects are really beautiful, and the Wonderland theme with lots of props and choreography, it's all up my alley. The girls really sell it with their facials too. I genuinely like this song as well, but something felt incongruent. Despite all the things going on and being fun and well performed, they seem to be going on for the sake of it, instead of to further a narrative or enhance the song. They don't mean much of anything, they're just there. I wish they either went full quirky Wonderland, or they took a more simplified and classy concept like La La Land, or an old Hollywood vibe. The stage seems to mix all these elements together in a way that doesn't fully realize any of them. I'm sure some people loved it, but when tallying up my points, I personally find it doesn't reach as many things as it aims to. A really fun concept with great energy. It's clean and the dance is great. Even so, it doesn't particularly stand out to me in the long run. Again, with more minor versions of the issues with individuality and standing out. I adore this concept for Bop Bop. It was an amazing idea. The elements really sell it. I do wish they went all out and solidified the girls' characters in this high teen concept even more, and did something with it later in the performance though. It was great, but I could quite easily see many places it could have been even better. This one comes together in the end for me, but it feels a bit rocky until then besides the very beginning. But while it's inconsistent, the strong parts really shine. I do wish they changed the sound of Navalera a little bit more in the way that matches the aesthetic change as well. But the vocals, the dance, especially the solo dance break, etc. are gorgeous, and I love these outfits. This shows off each member really well. Like usual, singing and charisma is all there. However, I have always felt this performance to be rather messy. Some of the transitions and renditions of Good Luck really aren't that great, but I still appreciate how ambitious it is. This is so gorgeous. I'm really a sucker for this kind of concept. The dance and vocals are so on point, the added raps are great, the fans and the backup dancers are used really well. More could be done with the costuming and the arrangement itself to feature the members more and make it stand out as a whole, but overall, I very much enjoy this. Beautiful and features everyone really well, but some parts feel quite busy. This is a case where I think less would have been more for a song like this. Really beautiful and emotional singing from Hyolyn, and overall great execution of the harmonies between these two. It was simple, but in a thematic and impactful way that showcased them both really well. Nothing groundbreaking, but still emotionally impactful and well thought out, especially for one of these vocal focused performances.
내 모든 것을 던져 네 손끝에 단 이 순간 Feel the higher, higher.
I do think this performance elevated the song and had a beautiful opening, great styling, and good standout moments for most members. However, for a finale performance, it's still pretty low considering what they could have done, even just to make a more clear and cohesive theme, especially since their other performances are so story heavy. Beautiful mashup with a great concept of power and elegance. These two songs have great choreography already, so although it wasn't particularly elevated, the new choices were still gorgeous and kept it feeling fresh. I do feel like there was a lack of energy throughout this performance, however. The middle, right around the transition between the songs, was where it was most noticeable. It's likely those first round jitters I talked about. Therefore, it just didn't hit as hard as I wanted it to, especially as a G friend and Vivi's fan.
그들은 날 짓밟았어 하나 남은 꿈도 다 가져갔어 새끼야
I love the fighting choreography and I love this message. I heard they changed the original meaning in order for it to be a little more hopeful, which is great. Despite how good it is, I do feel some parts come off a little busy or even messy, and it throws me off a bit in regards to the visual and sound. This one is really solid. Similar issues with a bit of messiness. I heard TO1 wanted to put everyone in since they suspected they'd be eliminated soon, which makes sense and I'm glad they did that overall, but I do think that contributes to it feeling crowded. It's good, but both groups have had stronger performances on the show.
You ready? I'm very, very good. I'm very, very good.
Amazing stage presence, very bold and cool. Some choreo could be stronger, and this isn't particularly unique. It's nice, but it doesn't stick with me. It's got a strong theme and message that's unique and fun. They all had great energy and great rapping. I would say some elements could have been stripped down more to lead to a cleaner execution of some of those rap, dance, and singing parts. It fell a bit short in all those categories, to me, compared to what it could be. I love the intro to this. I think the choreography is really cool with the machine aspect. I do think it fizzles a bit to me in the end. I do wish they did a bit more with the costume and the set in order to make the production stand out, since they did so well with that in other stages. This concept is strong in ONF, so I would have liked to see them really elevate and hone into it more for Queendom. I love this version of Egotistic so much, and I already love that song. The girls in the suits doing the duet work with the dancers and drag was so cool. The new rap was great. They keep the performance interesting and fun throughout, and it was something we hadn't seen AOA do before, and it still stands out as a well-done and unique song switch concept on the show. I like this concept in general, and certain moments really hit, like the dancing in the beginning and the puppet and shadow elements. It's really creative and different for them. But after really looking at it, I do think it's kind of messy, and especially compared to their later performances. I think it doesn't really do either of the songs justice in this mashup either. visually fun and fresh. It felt like a party. I think it keeps the consistency and pushes the general story nicely as well. I noticed how good the dancing was too. If I compare it to other school concepts in the show, I'd say I feel it does feel more fleshed out than Bop Bop, despite some elements not standing out as much, and less innovative than the reel, despite feeling cleaner overall. These aren't the only things, of course, but if people are wondering how they stand out amongst such similar themes, that's how I thought of it.
What a beautiful
I feel like the song arrangement didn't really hit for me musically, but when looking at it objectively, it does hit all the stops pretty well, and is well thought out and unique in its theme and staging. The dance break is really cool, the vibe is nice, the tricks are fun. Even with the issues with the slippery floor, they did really well. A bit weird in its pacing and inconsistent energy, but it's strong in its overall concept and story. The camera work's really good. I love the concept and the feeling of moving backstage, and I really like the added raps in this one too. They really made it their own. I like that they switched Monster up quite a bit, although I don't love how it sounds overall. The use of the set and projection is really well done. The dancing is amazing as usual for them. I don't love this one personally, but overall it's good. Perfect vocals. I love the concept behind this. It's really heartwarming. Some parts of the staging or an extra Moa Move flair could have been used to enhance it, but ultimately the performance did what it needed to do, and it did it extremely well. This is a beautiful take on the song, with amazing vocals. The classical vibes and the yearning expressions really sell me on this. There's still more they could do to push it further as a concept and stand out more with the costumes and set pieces, but it's still a great piece. It's a similar critique I had for Luna's Paint the Town, but I do feel this one to be higher because it takes more liberties with the choreography, props, and features more of the members for longer. This is just really fun and cute. It may be my least favorite Hyolyn performance and gets a bit slow in the middle, but it's still super strong and very well thought out. Another great traditional twist on a song, this time with costumes and set pieces that stand out more, and unique story beats that parse it all from others like it. The dancers play very strong parts, and each member shines really well. It's like an epic party from start to finish. This might be the finale song of Queendom 2 that I'll listen to the most musically, especially since it's summertime when I'm making this. It's just so fresh and fun. This is a great finale. It suits them, but still shows how much they can do. It's not like super artistic, but it doesn't need to be. It's still a great performance, and they still pull out a lot of stops. I really appreciate that ATEEZ do a variety of things while sticking to their main lore as a group at the same time. The costuming and addition of operatic vocals was really beautiful. Some tiny things that set it back would be the choreo and its changes didn't really stick with me, despite it being danced well, and they really could have featured more members better. A lot kind of gets stuck in the background for me. Super unique and fun with this Aladdin theme. They're really clean with it too. I like that a member plays a villain, and it allows for some action scenes and tension, and the vocals really shine as well. Beautiful theme, and allows each member to shine with their amazing dance ability. Everyone had great stage presence and notable moments. I do think certain elements of the choreo could be elevated more to keep a more dynamic performance, especially since they wanted it fully instrumental. The costumes and camera work also held back the impact at times. Even though they repeated the song, this take on it stands out a lot more. Really gorgeous choreo elements. I love the light versus dark elements in this story. It really enhances the performance a lot, that they split members into different sides so there's more drama and individuality in the story. Some parts of the music did feel a bit cluttered though, and the robes and costuming also felt a bit clunky. Oh, absolutely killer concept and stage presence for this song. She really made it her own, added so much to it at the same time. Plus the hoop, I already love So What, but this was amazing. I know I ranked this 52nd, and that's mostly for being a little simple in the concept and not really escalating it past the beginning part. But it's still so strong and a personal favorite for me from her. 내게 거짓말하지 마. 멈춘 시간들 내게 전부 잘해줄게 for you. Peak horror vibes. I love the creative choreography to create all of these eerie scenes. Some parts felt a bit messy, and I do feel the song got drowned out a bit by the concept, which is too bad because I love the song, but I still really think this is Boy, do I love a spooky ooky rendition of a song, especially an SNSD song. The new choreo is really great. This is honestly what I was hoping Kepler would bring to Queendom all along. They really show off their stage presence and dance ability. And you know what? I'll even admit I wasn't a Youngin stan all of Girls' Planet. Even when she did really well, I just didn't vibe, but she really bias-wrecked me here. I was so wrong to doubt her.
Hey, let's shut up, let us stop. Look at me now.
Really magnetic stage presence, truly beautiful overall. I love the theme of going from winter to spring. While it wasn't as clean as some others in this round, I can definitely see why it won. It really showcased who Brave girls were and their journey, and I'm really glad they did something like this.
Feeling like Hollywood 모두 알잖아 막신의 주인공
Follow my flow 물결친 boys cause Luna's way don't make a goal 어때 so what 네 흔들어 I'm gonna change 그 순간 광활하게 터진 my space.
Super different for Luna with a strong theme and nice raps. The cool girl paparazzi vibe is so fun. I actually preferred the song when I heard it on Spotify than the performance sadly, but it was still great. They display the story so well here. It's captivating throughout and quite emotional. The song is really nice and suits Bomb and her voice very well. Again, there's room for improvement, but it's still well above and beyond. All the solos, as well as the group dance, were really cool and fun. Some parts were a touch messy, but it's still such a nice performance. Everyone really shines. It's too bad they're all graded separately, but I'm glad they changed that format later. I still feel Ian was robbed though, like seriously. I'm obsessed with this choreography throughout. I replayed the first chorus like 6 times over. However, I do think they could have played into the Red Wedding theme a little more in a dark or action-y sort of way. It also puts a lot of members in the background and some parts feel oddly paced. These little things hold it back, but its strengths are still very strong.
You tell me now.
The choreography allowed for a lot of acting, tricks, and details that really showed off the group as performers and emphasized strength and poise. Everyone stood out in their own right by showing off their individual charms and personalities in the moves and expressions. This is truly so sleek and stunning. Super dramatic and gorgeous. I love the concept and the styling and the take on this song. I was shocked when I heard they were so shaken the whole time because the hourglass breaking, I actually thought that was part of it. So they really managed to pull off a very powerful performance, even so.
어느 누구보다 행복해.
The staging, the dancing, the colors, so fun and gorgeous. Definitely the stage presence, all above and beyond. I have no issues with it. It doesn't do anything mind-blowingly beyond what I'd expect, but it's still significantly above average, and I could honestly talk about it forever if given the chance.
널 위해 노래 부를게. Here I am.
Okay, so I'd put this higher if I could. This is a case where I feel my rating system doesn't do certain performances justice. Seriously, it's a perfect vocal performance. By far the best vocal unit performance on the show. I will not budge on that. It is the truth. The level of effortless control each of them have, and then the subtle lighting changes to build with the music. With all other vocal units, I already know they're good singers. And then I'm like, yeah, they still sounded great, just like I thought. But with these three, I knew what they sounded like, and I was still blown out of the water. These are the things that make it so much more impactful than a performance like Don't Go, which was similar in its objective, but ultimately wasn't arranged or perhaps taught to them as well, nor did it utilize the lighting or camera work to enhance the story the same way. I'm not saying that to bash those women, just to explain why I rated the two so differently. Anyways, this is seriously just perfect execution of this song. Like, oh my god.
나타날 땐 바람처럼 사라질 땐 연기처럼 너의 눈을 속이고 다가갈 땐 꽃잎처럼 파고들 땐 가시처럼 내 심장을 노리고.
Shockingly good. The tricks they pulled out for literally the first round is ridiculous. The little sound effects intro, the storyline of literally stealing the crown, this freaking stair trick, the use of the tables and the chairs, the way the camera and the dance work together to move the flow across the stage. It's amazing. The fact I still consider this to be on the weaker half of the boys' performance only shows how strong they are.
참을 수가 없는 걸 어딜 가도 정말 모르겠어 그 맘을 내게 보여줘.
Visually stunning from the choreo choices to the costuming. The vocals and rap were great. The drama was there. I think it's my favorite performance stage presence-wise from Oh My Girl on the show. Like, they really sell it. And this dance break, so cool. An absolutely amazing take on Butterfly. It was epic and cool and dynamic. It could feature some of the members better, and a few choreo changes I think could have been more impactful. But overall, this was breathtaking, and I'm so glad they did it like this.
다시 느껴 살 수 있어. 숨이 막혀와. 숨이 막혀와.
Stunning opening, really creative choreo. I was so impressed. The performance greatly enhanced the song for me. The whole thing is visually beautiful. As I mentioned, I like tension or story, and the black and white vibes give a bit of that. Although I wish it gave a bit more, as it doesn't really escalate throughout the performance.
이제 자유롭게 차갑게 식은 공기에 너의 빈자리만 남았던 그런 네
Musically, this is my favorite Queendom 1 finale song, and they completely nail the singing, rapping, and just having a unique and captivating energy. However, although there's a theme and message, I would like a bit more of a story and more elevation to the song. I already loved it, and I remember actually wishing for a bit more even when it aired.
나는 법도 모른 채나 falling down. 우린 더 몰아쳐 hello. 그냥 한번 비춰봐. Welcome to my world and my show. Come on now and watch this way.
The power in this is spectacular. She showed off her vocals and dance really well. The concept is royal and bold and very Hyolyn. Having Youngji come in to rap was a great idea. She sold it so well too. Even the backup dancers are fully giving it. It does lack that strong feeling of a story or even just an escalating or dynamic vibe that I really enjoy. But all those other elements I mentioned before keep this really high. It's that powerful. When this performance aired, I knew that this was the kind of thing that would continue to draw me into Queendom and Kingdom over time. They've taken their song and completely turned it on its head, sold it with creative choreo, killer stage presence, and a strong dynamic theme, and great stage choices in general. They managed to have so many heart-stopping moments while being relatively simple and chill with the vibe. It's really mind-blowing. This is such a fun and unique concept, and maybe the strongest sense of story in any of the performances. I love the retro movie feel and the little meta moments. They fully use the stage to make it feel like we're in a real place, and I truly feel it's one of the best uses of the space for the season. There are some messy moments and lulls, particularly choreo-wise, but overall this is extremely strong, and I get the dance was not the priority here anyways. A spectacular start with the strong themes of Game of Thrones they go for. They really come in kicking with a finale level performance right away. This version of the song is also really nice. I like the first person perspective, although some parts were a bit awkward. I do find it's a bit excessive with its gimmicks and tricks around the middle though. It feels like they're kind of happening with no real reason, which holds this one back a bit. I adore this theme. The intro was super unique, the tricks they did were amazing, the dance was really great. I love the duet work, and the part where they all become still like dolls is so cool. I do feel the vocals and rap got a bit lost, but it's still great, of course. I have very similar strength and weakness notes for this performance as I said for No Air. This one has a bit less going on and a bit less of a unique theme, but in some ways that helps it feel a lot cleaner. The things that do go on seem more impactful to the performance too. This one also showcases their vocals better. However, I do not like the pre-recorded bits. There were even weird cuts within those pre-records. Those, along with the dance break, piece out the performance too much and impact the flow for me.
Everybody's coming back to my world. Yeah, waiting for it so long. Doctor, let me pedal, I'm gone. Hell, chillin' like a villain. Talk about your flex with yellow.
Musically, this is one of my favorite Kingdom performances. The execution of their singing and rap is perfect. It's so sweet and triumphant in its message. Really suits B2B and their run on the show overall. I honestly wish it was even higher, but there are a few bits and of a few elements that it lacks that add up.
Can't turn me down. Can't turn me down. Yeah.
Younggun girl, I'm so sorry I ever doubted you. This performance ate. It was clean, cool, powerful, and different for Kepler. It showcased their dance, vocal, and rap very well, and a good portion of the girls were very expressive throughout. The use of chairs and the choreo was really well done. I wish they'd give a little more progression to make the performance feel like it's escalating, and even like the girls are perhaps rising to the top throughout it. There were elements of that, but overall the concept was just badass, and not much else. Even though they sold that concept well, it is what keeps it from being even higher. Such a unique and interesting interpretation of the song, and the strongest stage presence for SF9, I feel. They truly feel every moment, which is important in this song. My one critique would be the length, making it feel slow and making the impactful moments a little too far apart, and some of the dancing could have been cleaner too. This take on this song was so unique and effective in my opinion. The stage presence is stunning too. It's simple, clean, yet it feels really full to me. Everything from their vocals to rap to dance to performance really stands out here, and every member shines. I love this concept a lot. I think they really elevate the original, which already had notable dance moments. The stage presence is through the roof, and the choreo choices are brilliant. I would like a bit more story besides the theme of wolf. The closest thing I could see is maybe they're all fighting to be the leader of the pack, but certain parts of that aren't too clear either. Really fun and unique concept that highlights every member really well. They go even more full out than usual on dancing and expressions. However, I feel like with current context, the reel's actually been elevated even more with its official video and performances later in the year. So I can't really say I prefer the Queendom version, which makes it lose a bit of points in the elevation category. Dude, the acting, the tableaus, the use of lights and cloth and more, it really commits, and the vocal and dancing stand out too. We all know Romeo and Juliet, and this draws you in even though you know what's going to happen. And maybe even more so because you do. Really powerful and hype and great use of the stage. It's clean and full and well thought out. I really like this concept for them. I really like the use of the cages and all of the different segments pieced out on the stage. It's a really solid finish. Full story with many great standout parts. They really did the most they could with this song conceptually. I was really impressed. Chanmi's fight scene is what really pushes this up so high. I do feel there's some lulls between the key points, but those key points are so strong, so it's kind of hard. It really does better than most other finales in many ways, but misses a few marks too. Really solid example of changing a song to make it your own, as well as taking a concept and elevating it with a full storyline. Great stage presence, everyone's featured nicely, gorgeous set and staging, Lisa being there is a plus too, of course. I don't like some of the lyric change choices, but I guess that's a personal preference. Objectively, it's really well done. I can't even count how many times I gasped during this. Simple but effective storyline, and absolutely stunning choreo and danceability. Like, oh my god, this may be my favorite choreo of any of the performances actually. In general, everything they used was effective and with purpose. Even if it wasn't extreme or necessarily that groundbreaking, it's still very high based on how well they utilized the concept they had. I think the way it flows from scene to scene is also the best of any performance from them too.
숨을 죽여라 걸리적거리니까 본성을 드러내고 내를 따라 숨을 죽여라 걸리적거리니까 본성을 드러내고 내를 따라.
Really epic from start to finish with amazing dance and expressive performance. Strong theme, a bit lacking in story progression, which is too bad since other Stray Kids performances had that. I also feel they had better rapping and singing in other performances too. Even so, those are just nitpicky reasons why I consider this top tier one slightly lower than other top tier ones.
나약한 날 견딜 수 없어 애써 눈물을 감춘 채 사랑의 속도를 끊어 약했어 Let's kill this love.
Another performance I'd put in the pure definition of elevating a song and turning it into your own. This was conceptually breathtaking. The stage presence was immaculate. My only critique would be that it became a bit slow in the middle and could do more to make members stand out and could have a stronger flow of story throughout to escalate or de-escalate its intensity more evenly. But as you can see, it still ranks very high. I love the costumes. The background dancers give it. It's just so cool.
Always on my mind, always on my mind. You're always on my mind, 24/7, 365. Promise to be by your side, swear to God I'll risk my life. No hurt, but still I try, cause all I hear from you I cry.
This was so different for them, yet they had such a strong and unique theme that was dark and flowed well from melancholy to intense. The expressions and use of props and set and vocals were all on point. There were a few moments that maybe got a bit messy or lost, but I'm definitely amongst those who think this one got robbed in the round. Every moment of this is art. It really does what it can to be above and beyond. There's story and drama and tension. It's so beautiful and elegant and dark. The picture in the beginning is amazing. It's really spectacular. I do think at times the stunts overtook the performers in what was the most eye-catching, especially with so many near the beginning, but that's a tiny thing overall.
그 앞에서 부숴버릴 듯이 we on fire 너는 여기서 멈출 텐가 그토록 원하던 것이 영리해.
This is an extremely strong start to the show that incorporates the group's storyline nicely, as well as having a strong theme and storyline within the performance itself, with followable scenes. I still think they leave room to show off more later in the season, while still showcasing their rap and vocals here. I would say a few parts felt messier than it needed to be. The most effective parts to me were honestly the slower moments where I could really feel the effect of the song and staging. They really make it feel like a space they're moving through with purpose. They have a strong theme and escalate the energy throughout the performance. The dancers are minimal, yet creative props make up the set and allow the performers to move around the stage effectively. I love this dance overall, although I do think that it's a little empty and even a tad messy in the pre-choruses, despite that being an escalating moment. They're all giving it stage presence-wise. The styling is really amazing. And the idea of being like siren pirates on a turbulent ship is different for them and in general, and I like it a lot. I'm obsessed with this. I'm pretty sure this is exactly my genre. Like, this concept is exactly what I love, and I think they portray it really well. The choreo choices are really unique and breathtaking to portray this distorted clockwork feeling. The stage presence is also really strong throughout. The take on the song is new and interesting and manages to feel quite clean despite all the unique choices made. I seriously think this one is such a hidden gem. While I agree with Reveal winning over it in the round, this one is honestly around the same level for me. And it's still not even my top ranked of the round. The pure energy in this one alone sells it. Then when you add on the great dancing, great use of props and set, strong concept, and killer vocals, it's just so amazing. It's another example of using those props simply yet effectively. If I have one critique, it may be that colors and lightings were a bit much and it made it harder to properly focus on the performance and really separate the background from the foreground, which is a problem that quite a few performances on this show actually had. But overall, this is a really strong finale performance that I highly recommend. So many different emotions in this one, and it's so unique and playful and beautiful. It's refreshing with its childish style. I love the use of suitcases in the dance. It's also really personal since it's bidding farewell to the first member enlisting. Somehow they still also managed to deliver one of the best vocal performances in the series while all crying too. Honestly, even without the strong emotional element of this performance, it's still very strong in itself. Charismatic, well-planned, and captivating in general. This one had the strongest sense of story, with members being individual characters with roles even. They also utilized the set extremely well, maybe the best I've seen in any season, and had top-tier fight scenes. The story was linear and action-packed from start to end. It was the most like a movie, and it still felt clean. They really elevated the feeling of the Stealer for me, and had a very original vibe as a performance in general on this show.
Bounce, rhythm top. Bounce, rhythm top. 뭐해? 어서 고개 끄덕이지 않고.
Originally, I thought I preferred Wonderland, but this one feels a little cleaner. Their stage presence is somehow even better for this one too. The overall theme is also a tad more cohesive visually. There are a lot of moments in this one where my jaw drops. I battled between it and The Stealer as well, since they both gave a gang concept with a story, and I do think The Stealer has some strengths over this one, but I have to admit I like Rhythm Tom more because I'm a sucker for expressive acting, and I think the choreo is better here. And I do like that there's a unique goal for the gang, saving art and human emotion, which is an overall storyline for ATEEZ. Okay, I'm really sorry I ranked most Queendom 2 performances so low. I used to hate people saying that it was a weaker season, but sadly, after looking at all the performances critically, it may be. That being said, Shake It was high art and one of my favorite performances on this show ever. It's so theatrical. I love this kind of thing. The energy is so bright and fun, it actually tears me up a little. I'm not kidding. The dancing choices are amazing. The use of set and stage in such unique and different ways is great. They pull out all the stops, but do so in an impactful way that moves the story along and is fun and eye-catching and dynamic. They really make this song their own. Yes, seriously. This is just a delight from start to finish. Every single member is putting their everything into the performance. The creation of unique characters for every single member really enhances this and allows everyone to shine. They create a full story and environment, and it's sweet and simple but fully realized. They use the desks creatively throughout and fully elevate their song to the next level and beyond. I do prefer the choreo parts around the desk more than the general dance, and I have heard them all sing better than this too, but as you can see, still ranks remarkably high. I really never considered this one of the strongest performances in Queendom at all, but the more I think about all the elements, the more I feel it's really next level. Also, I must give credit to the special energy Miju adds to this just by being herself. This embodied the ideal feel of a finale performance for this kind of show, in my opinion. I think i-dle really set the original standard for it. The intro story, the immaculate costumes, the use of thrones and the rising stage, it's all epic and elegant. There were maybe a few lulls where it could have been spiced up a bit more, but overall, this is extremely strong, and I think about it so much, y'all don't even know.
우리는 마치 자석 같아 서로를 안고 또 미쳐내니까 나는 널 미치게 하고 정신 못 차리게 해 그래 알겠지 난 참 널 기가 막히게 해.
I know this one didn't even win the round, but wow. It's just nice to see the story be something they've literally all faced and has such a beautiful bittersweetness to this mix. Like, it really manages to be sad and cool and happy all at once. The staging and use of props is brilliant, like you really forget how limited the stage was and how skillfully the camera is weaving as they set up and take down everything. It's captivating as it moves from scene to scene. They juggle the parts that were more theatrical with those that are more music show-like really nicely. The raps that are added are nice. The dance break is amazing and the singing is really great. They managed to feature every single participant quite well. It's not necessarily my style genre-wise as much as others, but something about it is so triumphant in a soft way. I can't ask for much more from it without being, like, really picky about cleanliness, maybe.
Stray kids everywhere, all around the world.
Really clever concept that suits Stray Kids and allows each one of them to shine and put a whole new take on do-do-do-do while also incorporating their own song. It's very creative with a clear path through the performance. The vibe of a heist, but being so loud and playful and silly with it is really nice. Not only that, but the dance is great. The rap and vocals were great. The set and staging, and of course, the charisma, stage presence, costuming, all of it is really good.
겁이나 눈을 가린 채 너 없는 나는 어린애.
Again, a really realized concept. Similar strengths to Lion, and honestly a similar theme to Stray Kids' I'll Be Your Man, but it takes the best parts of those. It then pushes even further by having a really solid storyline that's threaded throughout and a truly spectacular choreography. Look at these tricks. Look at this part where he's dancing as if he's his shadow. Look at how everything relaxes for the bridge. Look at this child. The use of the dancers is really optimal to create the story, and the dance is so sharp and clean, there's really little I can fault it on. It's such a well thought out and executed performance. I love this one so much. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Pure perfection, honestly. Literally every scene flows into the other so nicely and stands out in itself. It uses the stage and setting so well. It tells a story with a heavy theme that follows the show. The use of black versus white members creates a great tension in the duet work, and of course, matches the chess theme as they literally all battle for the crown. Certain tricks are really impactful, like this fall, and especially the dancers capturing the still moments of this swift movement so beautifully. They use levels and depth spectacularly. The choreo in itself is really beautiful. I love these rising and falling motions. The costuming is stunning. Everyone looks great and cohesive, yet different. There's also enough texture in the performance to go through softer and more intense parts. When the mini thing closes and the big walls mimic it and they fight inside and then it falls and becomes a dynamic part of the set via the camera angles, dude, Plus, the stage presence here is above average for them too, I feel. Like, it's basically perfect. I genuinely stand by this performance being the strongest of any season. I understand if you have different preferences, but personally, I'm solid in this decision. Thank you for sticking through for this whole ranking. I really appreciate it. I worked hard. Please let me know your opinions in the comments. I would really love to discuss these things with you guys. Please be respectful. Obviously, everyone has their own opinions, and everyone has the right to share them respectfully. Thanks again for watching and supporting. I'd like if you could subscribe or check out some of my other videos if you haven't already. And yeah, okay. Have a nice day, everyone.
모든 걸 지난 날